Okay, here's a video on equivalent ratios. And equivalent just means equal. Just remember that. Equivalent ratios just means they're equal. And equal ratios are also called proportions, and we'll go over proportions in another video. So let's look at an example. Let's say I had a number here. I had a ratio, and let's say it was 4 to 7. 4 to 7. And of course, as you know, we can also write it. That looks like a fraction, 4 to 7. So to make an equivalent ratio, or an equal ratio, all we have to do is multiply the numerator, the 4, and the denominator, the 7, by any number, and they have to be the same number. So let's look at an example. Let's move this over. If I had 4, let's get a better marker. This marker is dying. Okay, so if I had 4 over 7, and as I said, if I wanted to get an equal ratio, just use the same number on top as on the bottom, so I can multiply, let's say 3, could be any number. If we're going to multiply the top by 3, we have to multiply the bottom by 3. So we'll get an equivalent ratio here of 12 over 21. So 12 over 21 is equivalent to 4 over 7. So you can say 4 over 7 equals 12 over 21. It's the same ratio. Bring that up. Same ratio. Okay, let's look at another example. So let's say we had 1/2. Right, I'll bring it over here. You know, this is the ratio, 1 over 2. It's not 1/2, it's 1 over 1 part, 2 parts. So if I want to get an equivalent ratio again, multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, any number you want, any number you choose. So if we use 3 again, be 1/2 times 3. So, and we'll get 3 over 6. So 1 over 2 is equivalent. By the way, that's another way of writing equivalent ratio sign. So, well, let me do that over. You can say 1 over 2 is equivalent to 3 over 6. That's one way of writing it. Or you can say 1/2 equals 3 over 6. Now again, you can use any number. All right, well, let's say we bring that down over here. Let's say we said 1 over 2, and we will times it by 9, right? We can times it by any number you want. So 9 over 18 is also equivalent. And if 1 over 2 is equivalent to 9 over 18, then 3/6 is also equivalent to 9 over 18. So any number you choose, you can use. Okay, let's look at some more examples. Let's say I had the ratio of 2 to 9. How would you make an equivalent fraction with that? 2 to 9. Now, of course, there'll be many equivalent fractions to this, depending on the number you use. So 2 to 9, you can use any number you want. Remember we said, I can even use, let's say, 12. We can use 12, we can use 13, we can use any number to get an equivalent fraction. We can use 1,000,000. So, if we use 12, what would we get for an equivalent fraction? Okay, so the top number, we would get 24 to 108. So 2 to 9 is equivalent to 24 over 108. Now, you could have got a different one depending on the number you used. Right? So again, let's say I said on a test, I said make 2 equivalent fractions to 2 over 9. Well, you can use any number you want. You can use 2 if you want, or 3. So we know that's 1. And if we want to make another one, we just multiply again with something else. Let's say 3. And we get 6 over 27. So 6 over 27 is equivalent to 4 over 18, and it's also equivalent to 2/9. So here are the 3 equivalent ratios. Okay, let's do one more. I'll give you a ratio. Let's say I give you 5 to 7. The ratio is 5 to 7. And I wanted, let's say, 2 more equivalent ratios. So pause the tape and give me 2 more equivalent ratios to 5 to 7. Okay, so you could have used any number to multiply it. It could have used 2, for example. Remember, if you use 2 on the top, you got to use 2 on the bottom. And you get 10 over 14. 10 to 14 is equivalent to 5 over 7. Now you can use the same ratio, the original ratio, or you can use 10 over 14, whatever one you want. You can just multiply again. If you want to do another 2, you can do another 2 and you get 20 to 28. So here's our ratios. Let's write them down. You can write them like a fraction, or you can say 5 to 7 equals 10 to 14. It's equivalent. Or we can write it like this with the 2 dots, 2 colons. This means the same thing. Right? So 5 over 7 equals 10 over 14. Bring that up. Make that 10 better. Which equals 20 over 28. And of course, this can keep going forever. These are the equivalent fractions. Okay, great job.